So, good morning, everybody. As we are back. We are really, really quickly back, guys. Just one night of sleep, and good morning, everybody. And we get back into the action with some more Hot WARNO League action. This time, Division 2. And who do we have here, Chloride?
Protos, I can't hear you on Discord again, but we are currently having Golden Panzer. We're playing Golden Panzer having second infantry, and Perseus playing fourth moto. Both of these are their NATO and Pact equivalents of lighter, small special forces and helicopter operated these forward deployment divisions with the famed Fallschirmjägers and the Fallschirmjäger Metit on the eastern side, with the standard 6 SAS opener coming from the western side here. And now the reason why the 6 SAS, let's say 4 to 6 SAS, tends to be kind of a standard opener on the second infantry division side is the fact that the SAS is such an excellent unit to just have, even though it's very expensive at 100 points. It is basically maybe one of the best units in the game. Not only does it get excellent close quarters infantry weapons, fast-firing anti-tank rocket launchers, it also gets a very good man pads with the Stinger post, and with their top veterancy, their elite veterancy, these units can basically handle most openers, and in any kind of a situation where the enemy isn't firing at them at long range, the SAS can probably trade up or at least be very value. And in the long term, the SAS will basically work also as AA units, considering the fact that they have 8 health, so they're very difficult to kill, and they're very accurate with their man pads.
Yeah,
Can
they're
you hear me now?
actually the
Oh,
best
yeah.
AA that the division gets with Stingers, as all the other manpads you get are javelins, which are not quite as good. Also, interesting amount of helicopter here right behind it. And whilst on the other side, yeah, we get a hell of a lot of forward deployment as well, including forward deployment AA with the Strellas, together with some Fallschirmjägers. So it's gonna be special forces versus special forces here. Fallschirmjäger Einsatztruppe behind it as well. Who do you think will have the upper hand here in the middle? It's two SAS versus two Fallschirmjägers in the Einsatzgruppe. Who will win that?
I think that with proper enough micro, especially with the helicopter support or the Fox support, the SAS will most likely take it. If these infantry fights are fought under 500 meters, the SAS just do way more damage. But on the other hand, the Fallschirm SPG-9s will do extra damage, and if these SPG-9s are able to unload and target any reinforcements, those things can pay their 55 points back very fast if they're not microed against, or if they're if the enemy doesn't suspect them. We're seeing the meta being slightly bugged by people by the players not pushing solely up north and middle. Obviously, these are both fast reinforcing, fast deploying divisions that want to take as much ground in the opener as possible. So both of them are investing at Charlie and Delta as well. And the problem with the 6 SAS opener is that it is just so incredibly expensive. So you can't afford to have the SAS out doing something that something other than fighting, let's just say. But when you have these when you're facing Fallschirmjägers, which are already expensive and good units, being able to get into this close quarters position and send one SAS one versus one FS especially the DDR FS the special forces ones, I think the SAS will trade immensely well, and the existence of the SAS also prevents Perseus from using the very plentiful and good helicopters that Fourth Moto has.
Yeah, we see now the Gazelles running into the middle. The Strellas, one has unloaded already. Second one is unloading in a second. Currently, the Gazelle Hots wasting their missiles not on infantry units, but actually on transports. That's always a bit of an issue. Now they get onto the Fallschirmjäger though, but nearly all Gazelle rockets down as well. And it's a pretty heavy fight. SPG-9 in the south gets smoked. SAS versus Fallschirmjäger Medis. The Medis going a bit too far in the south as well, but the center fight is the interesting one here. And there, the fight is really close. Fallschirmjäger Einsatztruppe, another special force unit here, coming forward with double MG. And the first SAS nearly down, the second one now getting engaged. Whilst we don't have any air forces on either side, there we come with the first MiG-21. This is important, yeah. Bombing SAS is so efficient with the 100 point cost, and there we go. SAS bite the dust, and the center seems to be one for Perseus, but the southern flank will go to Golden Panzer.
Yeah, losing SAS is a massive hit in your tempo. Having suddenly this 100 or 200 point gap in your 1,500 point opener, that can radiate to the rest of the game, especially since neither one of these divisions is necessarily designed to be played in the long term. The tank tabs are weak on both ends. The second Panzer Grenadier only has, I believe, a single card or maybe two cards of Challenge 2s, whereas the fourth Moto has a large amount of T-55s, but even the most modernized T-55s, the AM2s, are not really competing. Their firepower is quite limited.
Mistake by Perseus. The SPW went too quickly through the rear point, not capturing it, leaving Golden Panzer here on a +2. Yeah, the Fallschirmjäger in the south beaten back. The rover will get the southern zones captured, where the SAS did survive. A big investment with the Phantom that didn't get the kill into the MiG-21 here by Golden Panzer, but at least prevents more MiG-21 cheap and fast bombers to kill more SAS in the near future. But it seems like Perseus will have to focus on the north. They only bring some recon into the south to make sure that they don't get overrun there. But all the investments now go into the north. We see some T-55As, we see some Fallschirmjäger with SMGs. Meanwhile, in the air, another MiG-21 coming around, but the Phantom is still hovering in the rear. And that Phantom has a lot of long-range missiles, so chances are it will get the MiG-21 shut down if it gets into if it gets too close here.
Yeah. So the second Panzer Grenadier, after the SAS opener and often also the air mobile opener, the second the second infantry reinforces with armored rifles and warrior Milans, as well as very fast deployed motorized air mobiles. Generally, both the armored rifles and the motorized air mobiles are good units. The AT is decent with Carl Gustavs and Lavs, and they have a bunch of really good light machine guns, which are the most efficient infantry machine guns, I believe.
Armored rifles here, sitting around, moving into buildings now, and it will need some armor to push through these warriors, and the armored rifles. That's why the T-55As are coming in. It's the old generation T-55s though, so these have short range. These don't have the extra armor. But the MiG-21 here going a bit too deep. A bit of a mismicro there by Perseus. Actually eating a track drop here hit without gaining anything out of it. But the MiG-21 coming in right afterwards. Good dodge though with the armored rifles. Actually getting them out of the building before the bombs land on it. And surviving the hit there. And the other MiG-21 comes around again, and that's kind of suicidal, as it's down to 2 hit points. But the track trap here was on a move order and didn't have line of sight there. So the MiG-21 with 2 hit points actually making it out alive, but didn't have the best bombing run there either, only killing 3 armored rifles.
Yeah, remember, kids, always move your AA units with hunt orders so that they will stop and fire at the passing enemy planes. This is very crucial. Like moving your AA with move commands can actually lose you a lot of stuff if it happens at the wrong time. We're seeing the Soviet Perseus try to move on after cutting the head of the SAS Gorgon down the middle. The middle is now solely with the DDR. but that is not an actual position. It is only a tactical position. The +4 needs to be taken out because Perseus does not want to be attacking a late game second UK, which will be able to fortify with these zero bet challengers, tanks that are not really that great at attacking. They're slow and they're low bet, but on defense they're very formidable. So this tick needs to be cut off quickly. Otherwise, it becomes a 1,000 point tick, which would in turn require some kind of a push to the south, where the second UK has amazing abilities to fight these grind battles, much like the fourth motto has, but second would be on defense here.
And Perseus still hasn't captured the rear zone. This is really the biggest mistake here in this game so
Oh
far,
damn!
as
You're
that
right.
is what leads to this +4 situation. Otherwise, it would be a +2 situation, which wouldn't be comfortable, but would be manageable. And the +4 here really putting Perseus on a big timer. Big mistake here. Something that you always should check. Like every 1 or 2 minutes, like you should get into a habit of checking the +2, the tick, seeing how much time you have left, and also maybe checking in why it is the amount of tick that it is. If you don't check the minimap actively, where you can also see that the zone is not captured, there's another way of doing it. I often go via the tick as well. But yeah, it's a really terrible situation here for Perseus right now, thanks to that mistake.
Yeah, armored rifles taking out an FS Jaeger before it unloaded, and then completely with the AT weapons suppressing the second FS Jaeger. Now having these low cohesion FS Jaeger go 1v2, just a bad engagement there. These aircraft will try to move in to support it, but likely will be taken out by these stacked 3 track rapiers here.
Weak MiG-23s and MiG-21s here actually coming through, surviving there, and the MiG-21 doing a good job. We have an ARM-70 counter-batterying the 155mm on the other side as well, doing some good damage so far. Golden Panzer tries to load it back in. Can the ARM-70 find the kill? Ooh, it's really low. It barely survives there. That is fortunate for Golden Panzer. I have only seen such a low health bar a couple of times. Like, this is less than 1 hit point. This is like half of 1 hit point remaining there for that vehicle. Meanwhile, another AT MiG-23 goes through the tractor pier alley, and this time it pays for it. That's not what you want to have happen here. I feel like the ARM-70 in the end would have been better used up north, but obviously unfortunate that it didn't get the kill there, though. Also, quick reaction from Golden Panzer, getting the 155 back into the Bedford. Otherwise, it surely would have died to that rocket off map.
Yeah, first the heaviest DDR tank, the T-55A and 2B, with the very modern the Czechoslovakian fire control system, which allows it to have a max range tank gun, as well as really good accuracy. It's still coming, but unfortunately, Perseus not moving the command vehicle and is still allowing this tick to keep on happening. Frankly massively donating the game to Golden Panzer right now, denying any kind of ability to making their own late game so much more difficult to get to here with this fumble.
Yeah, we see Fahrzeugmega Einsatztruppe and Mi-2014 now engaging in the north. Armored rifles there getting dealt with. Whilst meanwhile in the south, we see more Foxes. We have a really good fortress here by now for Golden Panzer in the southern area. The SAS even pushed forward to that super important building on the edge of the hill in the far south, having a commanding position from there. A bit kind of impossible to push, and that makes the +4 even rougher, because that means that Perseus really would have to push completely through the north, but first Perseus has to stop this +4 tick, because it leaves him on a 4-minute timer right now, which is really not that much time in WARNO terms.
Yeah, that's how many reloaded RM70 salvos. Not enough for this situation. The 155 millimeter howitzer gets taken out by the second salvo of the RM70, but the +4 tick is still going. Oh, this would have been this would be kind of a equal situation when it comes to build up. The tanks are being brought out here, and the tanks with the control of the buildings up north, the row of houses. This allows the T-55s to get pretty close, and to with the kinetic damage bonus that they get being on close, they can absolutely penetrate the Challenger 2s, especially if you have these tanks in large numbers, and they're being brought out on zero bet. So Perseus does have them in large numbers, but this is there's just no time for this unless Foxtrot gets captured.
Yeah, the Foxtrot capture might happen in a minute, but by then it's a 2-minute timer as a T-55 AK is coming to drive through it. And yeah, the artillery taking out a couple of units here, bombers coming in once more. We have a Fito actually on the other side, which is feeling kind of overkill to deal with T-55s, but I mean it still will do great damage there with its top attack missiles here, which can two-shot every tank like a T-55 and one-shot all the lighter vehicles. As it has a fantastic 16 damage missile that always hits the top armor.
Yeah, on one hand, there is something that, despite all of these troops, Golden Panzer is kind of lacking, and that's a recon. But then I realized that there's this sniper up here, so the recon is not even a weakness here. RM70 striking right into the still loaded up motorized air mobiles. All of these units surviving by staying inside of their Saxons. Saxons, the most hideous vehicle in the game, arguably, even worse than the Hungarian APC. But they do work, and they're very fast. And apparently, they can protect you from heavy rocket barrages.
They are at least splinter-proof, helping you out there, not getting Swiss cheesed by that. And yeah, the motorized airmobile there being a pretty important holdout there, as we are on a 3-minute 20 timer. MiG-21AA loses the battle against the Phantom in disguise. Another HE version coming in here with a run onto some more infantry. Will get a kill, but it was already a damaged unit, and the track trappeers do their job once more here, getting another MiG-21 down. So another relatively bad trade there for Perseus, and Perseus can't afford any bad trades right now. Needs to go for the push there. The T-55 AK on the way in, but pushing into two challengers with T-55s, not the most comfortable position to be in.
Yeah, see, this is the final push here. Unless a bunch of very good trades can be made against the British, and a commander be permanently put in here, this is going to be a game, I believe, for Golden Panzer and Perseus. The air mobile that are hiding inside the buildings have LAW-80s, which are very fast firing, 20 penetration, max range AT weapons. So even driving close by, they risk getting like 1 or 2 shots by the air mobiles.
Yeah, we see a MiG-21 bomber coming in. We see a lot of Saxons and track rapiers and air mobiles dying. But the T-55 leader also being pushed back. 2-minute timer. The SPW-CV coming in instead. And the issue is both challengers are still alive here. So the T-55s can't freely support this push. And the Fallschirmjägers are good, but they are not really in high numbers. Tornado coming around, getting a bomb drop up against the two Fallschirmjägers in the forest, getting one killed, one heavily damaged, and that's reducing the infantry advantage that was already slim even further here for Perseus. And the CV actually makes it in, but the Challenger CV is on the other side already, so as soon as the push is cleared, Golden Panzer would be able to take this back quite quickly. The SPW even gets taken out before it can fully capture, leaving it all in a +1 situation. Challenger leader has to be careful there. A lot of ATGMs flying towards it right now. But the Tornado HE coming in here now for the damage tank? No, it comes in for the north. where T55M2B is in a good spot. Now it is routed though, so the challenger leader down to 1 hit point, but if it can
So
get
far,
repaired, and it can get repaired over here, it still should be able to come back here in once the zone is captured back and the T55 leader goes down. So no way to stop the +1 here right now, and that alone will be enough to win the game here now.
yeah, so far the inevitable has been delayed, but as we can see, the Challenger 2s, they are in their own element, standing still on max range, taking pot shots at long range infantry squads and older generation tanks. The very rare situations where second UK's tank tab can dominate in the mid game like this, but this is one of these situations when this can happen. One of the main weapons that 4th Motorschützen has against these heavy tanks are the MiG-23 MF 80 planes. They're very cheap. I believe you get like 8 of them max, or 6 or something with 4th Moto. But these, and one of them coming once again, these KH-23 missiles, despite having pretty good range, only have max range accuracy of 35%. So it's always kind of you're throwing dice a little bit, not the greatest dice, frankly. They're kind of a weighted dice when you're sending one singular planes against these challengers, and those planes just haven't been getting the kills here. They have to get really close against at this British blob, where the track rapiers can just take easy pot shots against them.
Yeah, another MiG-21 here going down. Once more an issue of bringing in too many planes piecemeal instead of setting up strike packages of multiple planes at once. But yeah, it doesn't really change the outcome anyways, as the Challenger now is in the zone. No CV here close enough, and no real forces close enough anymore for Perseus either. The Tornadoes on the other side did a fantastic job here. The single coup, not enough to kill them off, and the Challengers, with their strong frontal armor, able to hold off the enemy armor for a good while as well. And here we go, Golden Panzer winning game 1 in a pretty clean fashion with a pretty standard second UK opener here.
Yeah, you get some good trades. Even if you lose some of your SAS, the investment of something like what is 240 points per site, having two pairs of SAS down south. Those singular units were so powerful that investing I to fight against two SAS per site and in Delta and Charlie was just not something that could have like happened in the DDR opener. The regular weapons that the DDR would use to deal with something like this, forward deployment special forces, so Mi-24D helicopters or MiG-21 HE bombers. Those are just not. Those are just not going to work out against the Stingers, and and if you want to go toe to toe with infantry, you have to wait for a couple of minutes to start building up this infantry. And the breakthrough up north was way more tempting to Perseus, so the bottom was allowed to keep on ticking throughout all the game. Meanwhile, Perseus, of course, not realizing their own back point, and thus cutting out the time that they had to try to break this British force.
Yeah, otherwise, with the RM-70 and the RM-70 taking out enemy artillery already, I think there would have been a good chance that the RM-70 with 1 or 2 more salvos, with the extra time, like the extra 10-15 minutes that Perseus would have had, to the RM-70 could have dealt fatal damage potentially to maybe the AA, maybe the infantry of Golden Panzer, but it didn't happen. The mistake was made, and with that, the game was cut short. So yeah, we have a quicker way into game number 2. I don't think this here was really representative of Perseus' skill, so looking forward to see how game number 2 evolves. Big break, guys. Then we're gonna be back with match 2.
Yeah.
So here we return, everybody. Golden Panzer versus Perseus. Map number 2. Golden Panzer in the 1-0 lead. And we have a Black Forest game out of all maps here. And we have an interesting matchup here as well. Fallschirmjägers and Milan 2s on the left side for Golden Panzer, whilst on the right side we have Perseus bringing in 27th Guards. A division that is really strong at the moment, but it doesn't have forward deploy, and it is also not the most affordable, meaning it can't spread out super well. Both things that you often have to do or often have to use on Black Forest, so still an interesting pick. What do you think about the chances here in this matchup for 27th?
27th here is actually, in many ways, a pretty strong pick because this is a map in which infantry take fortified positions that are can be fired upon at like 2,000 range. There are a lot of these positions where you can move from one to the other and then gain a good tank gun range. Ranges to and sight lines to fire at fortified infantry. That is why having something like a large investment in the Fallschirmjägers here, even though they're good infantry and even though they can get good amount of free real estate at the start, if the Soviets manage to wait, let's say 5 minutes to build up a nice little soft attack blob with a bunch of BMP3s and a supporting T80, suddenly the infantry doesn't really seem so scary anymore, especially if your Special Svedka can spot them at long range. To support this thesis of Perseus wanting to play a longer game, we have a Sklads and Absenia, and and on the other hand, the fact that the expensive units for 27th mean that they have to move in these kind of blob-like mech formations means that this opens Perseus up for counterattacks by Golden Panzer. Golden Panzer is with forward deployment and the map balance is going to take the Charlie point for free. I think the sawmill point allows Perseus. No, I'm sorry, allows Golden Panzer an attack route to the town on Alpha. So in 5 minutes, let's say we're going to have a big fight around Foxtrot and Bravo, where Perseus is using their expensive mechanized units, trying to keep them alive, and suddenly the front has widened because suddenly the West German infantry is moving into Alpha under the cover of a smoke barrage. That is something that you can do when you can afford to lose units, as you can with 2nd Panzer Grenadier, against divisions that really can't afford to lose units, such as 27th.
Yeah, we have Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer here on the left side, more in the south. Gepard 1A1 coming through. Up north, we have a good couple of Milan 2s and Fallschirmjägers coming up as well. So it's a pretty standard setup here. No big push towards Alpha, but we have one Fallschirmjäger and going close to it, so to at least really grab some ground here early on. But on the other side, we have a pretty standard but really expensive opener from Perseus with 27th. We have double helicopter, double plane, the Mix 90 move, and we have a forward supply point here, FSP, Zendia, coming in here in the rear. So Motostrelkis, really low in numbers, no tanks whatsoever, no BMP3s here at the beginning. It's a lot of aircraft, rotary and wing based, and then that supply point. So long game setup here for Perseus. Question is, will Golden Panzer sniff that out and push hard?
Yeah, the being aggro with something like 2nd Panzer Grenadier, where you have a wide front of pretty affordable forward deployment infantry, can be very smart because if your enemy does what Perseus is doing, an extremely conservative opener, very careful, absolutely not capable of fighting in the opener, aside from maybe using these helicopters to counter forward deployment infantry.
MiG-29's not engaging here. They came in too late. the F-16A is getting a free kill there. The Milan 2 not even dying. The rockets there went really in a weird manner. They didn't kill the Iltis at all, which is weird. But the Mi-24K in the south at least doing a great job though. The Gepard there coming in really late, so the Mi-24K has everything killed but the leader. Has to be careful though. Yeah, will most likely die to the Gepard now, so that's another expensive unit. Most likely dead in a second here. Might get the leader beforehand though, as the Fallschirmjäger leader is caught out in the open. It's super low. It goes down. Okay, so the Mi-24K really did its job, but it goes down nonetheless, and that leaves Perseus with 4 infantry squads on the battlefield and a BTR of 80. And
Yeah.
that is not a lot.
Yeah, Golden Panzer actually moving the Fallschirmjäger into the Alpha town, but immediately leaving after getting fired upon. The Golden Panzer's Fallschirmjägers also moving to the eastern side of Bravo to take even more of these free positions, realizing maybe seeing the two
Oh, and
helicopters
the
and two
F-16 coming
airplanes.
in, and they have the short-range missiles, but they take a bad first engagement there. Okay, it's a 1-1 trade so far. One MiG-29 goes down. MiG-23 not able to finish off the F-16 as it was running out of missiles, so okay trade here. Better trade for Golden Panzer once more. MiG-29 is the more expensive plane. And yeah, the air superiority lost for Perseus here basically as well, as another helicopter comes in, but there are a good amount of Fliegerfausts here. 3 Fliegerfausts in the center, 1 in the north. We have the Gepard in the south, so I don't think helicopters can achieve super much outside of defensive gameplay here.
Yeah, Perseus at the sawmill using a single recon unit and a single recon helicopter, actually managing to get a bunch of nice trades and forcing Golden Panzer to invest into more FS Jaegers and another leader down south. There are no units out there to capture this aside from the Rasvedka, but of course Golden Panzer doesn't know this, so Golden Panzer. And Golden Panzer buying another fighter to deal with the Mi-24AA that is currently holding up the defense on Alpha. How long do you think it'll go until Golden Panzer realizes that there really isn't that much ground game here? The ground game is only arriving at the long-range deployment of the BMP-3s, and with the Saperian Conquerors M being transported into the into the town on Alpha.
Yeah,
But
Golden
these
Panzer
other
already moving in now with the leader, so Golden Panzer realizing there is not much in this town. Fallschirmjägers obviously tried to get in, the helicopter pushed one of them back, but the other one should beat the Redvedka here. They are a 7-man squad with veterancy against the unvetted Redvedka. Will get even more veterancy once the leader is close to them, so the Fallschirmjäger will win this handily. And yeah, the other Fallschirmjäger might need the Unimog to come up. There's another Fallschirmjäger that could move in here as well, though it protects Bravo at the moment, and you might want to keep it there for any fast by driving BTR 80s that might rush in there. But yeah, Golden Panzer now on the +1 situation here, and it will take good effort here from Perseus to get that back. So Perry's at least on the way already. They obviously can change that with their TNT if they get close enough to the Fallschirmjägers with it, though their unloading positions might be danger close there. The Fallschirmjäger might be able to get them with the Panzerfaust. Motostrelki Medis get the Unimog maybe, but not much else here.
Yeah, the Rasvedka at the sawmill actually managed to get a FS Jaeger while it was still in its transport, but now the southern side completely taken over by the West Germans. And considering how excited Golden Panzer is about having a town fight at Alpha, and frankly can't blame him, that's exactly what I would do if I was playing second PG here. This is opening up another attack route where these 2 Leopard 1A5s can actually start moving in, a third one being called up, and with a bunch more Fallschirmjägers clearly wanting to invest into this town. The problem for Golden Panzer is that the town is easier to reinforce from Perseus' side, of course, but buying a lot of these units and moving down the hill to flank the southern side of the Alpha town could gain a tactical advantage, especially if these Leopard 1A5s manage to bypass to the southeast corner of the
Oh, and we have another important air engagement. Su-17 here being caught out without any protection. MiG-23 comes in clutch here. F-16 being called back actually might backfire heavily here for Golden Panzer. MiG-23's missiles are pretty terrible though, so it does miss all of them. F-16A will get out. What I really don't like from Perseus is investing further into the south. I think the two Motostrelkis here that will run into Fallschirmjägers and actually just die are a big misinvestment. They should have gone into the town. I think with them being there, as he killed the Fallschirmjäger in the way in, and he already pushes the Fallschirmjäger Führer out right now, he could have cleanly captured the town completely. Now instead he has Motostrelkis that just die in the south. One of them already goes down. The second one at least unloads before its transport blows up, but it will be caught out in the open by the Fallschirmjäger as well. And the town is recaptured by Perseus, but it's not fully under control, though he has invested a lot there lately. But oh no, the killer plane is coming in, and the killer plane deletes 3 infantry units. Mehrzweckwaffe at its best once more here, always hitting infantry concentrations. Blobs are not allowed around the West Germans. Really well done there by Golden Panzer, and that opens up the whole town once more.
Yeah, so despite so Percy's wasting the Motostrelkis down there at a moment when they just can't afford to do that. Personally, I think those Motostrelki were the best used being deployed in the forest and walked up to guard the two eastern routes away from Charlie, so that a large dash downhill can't happen without at least some Soviet units being there to block it. Golden Panzer investing hard into tanks here with a Leopard 2A 2 leader and more Leopard 1A5s coming out. Obviously, wanting to invest in the fire superiority. The BMP3s going 1v1 against the Leopard 1A5s. I do think in many situations the Leopard will win, but not on all of them. And T-80BV is coming for Perseus to the town finally. So if this tank fight goes badly, this could be a tempo hit for Golden Panzer for once. There is also the Conqueror's N, which can basically like make this Leopard's combat ineffective.
We have a Milan 2 on the other side as well, though, catching the first BMP3 already. Yeah, Conqueror's M need to try to catch the Leos here. They can blow them up quickly as well. Yep, one hit kill on the Leo there, though the town down to 1 infantry unit here once more for Perseus, and that 1 infantry unit even under fire by another 155mm artillery piece. Golden Panzer really seems to like them. On the other side we have the guided ammunition Acacia coming in for some precision strikes potentially against the Milan 2 in the south as well. We have a recon unit around that gives accurate shot. Su-17AT once more flying around, fishing for some Leos. There is a really valuable Leo 2A3 later coming around right now. If that could be fished by the Su-17, it doesn't quite get the missile off there. So it will have to find a better attack angle there. But the Leo should be spotted from the church tower. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it misses both. Unfortunate times there for Perseus.
A Grad being also bought out, but neither the Grad or the Acacia aiming or firing yet. And I think considering these infantry concentrations from Golden Panzer, it would be really a good time for the Grads to start activating around here.
Yeah, the Grad's currently still getting a bit closer. Acacia with the first prime target, Milan 2 in the northern forest. In the northern building, in the forest, we have a fight between Motostrelkis and Fallschirmjägers. The Fallschirmjägers have shock, actually being able to rout the Motostrelkis, and now firing on them whilst they retreat through the open. Fortunate times for the Fallschirmjägers, who otherwise most likely would have lost that duel, as they're already down to 3 hit points. Meanwhile, Mehrzweckwaffe once more deleting a Motostrelki here. Su-17AT going down to F-16AA and the Fliegerfaust. Tor not able to get the missile on target there. MiG-23, not the greatest air defense either. Yeah, Tor, great against anything that dives on you, great against helicopters, not so great against anything that flies high, as its missile has relatively limited range and its high accuracy doesn't help you when the missile can't catch up to the enemy.
Yeah, the T80BV pushing with the BMP3 up to Bravo, but instead of getting killed by a Panzerfaust 3, a side shot from the Milan 2 actually took away the main battle tank without any fight. Massive losses. Conquers M, a tank, losing the air fight. This is a bad situation for Perseus here. Perseus needs to get some really good traits. Golden Panzer could overextend here, which would maybe allow a good engagement. But if the situation keeps going on, and the second has so much pushing power here, and the positions to engage, to
Oh,
engage.
BMP3 missing the side shot potential there on the Leo 2A3 with its Bastion ATGM. Unfortunate times there. And now it tries to get into a closer position. That's a mistake. It will reveal itself and it will get shot by something in return, most likely. There is a Milan 2, there is two Leo 1A5s, which can deal quickly with a BMP3 as well. There is the Leo 2A3, obviously, as well. And there's only one TADB on the other side. Vulturemaker is able to get back into the town here. SU-17 not able to get onto the Leo anymore because the Rajvetka got killed, so no line of sight anymore onto that Leo 2A3 in the south. SU-17 is going for the Leo 1A5 instead, but not getting that kill either, and a really ballsy BTR move here, most likely shortcut by the Vulturemaker. Yes, they get the kill. That was an overeager commander there, driving a bit too far forward.
Yeah, for the pittance, a Grad did kill one of the FH-155 cannons, but the Grad has no supply truck and is currently far away from the Sklazhnabzhenia, so the Grad can't immediately start reloading, which is what you would like to have here. So just slight inefficiencies at logistic. Fashion Milan once again side-shotting a T80PV. Just purely small acts of miss micro coming from the USSR side. Leopard 2 tasting blood and pushing forwards. The single Metis launcher firing missing, and there is now does Golden Panzer realize the amount of kills that they're being getting? Like this is the town is open wide here.
Yes, and another helicopter bites the dust as well. We only have 2 infantry units, and the forces here on the battlefield right now for Perseus on the front line are once more down to 4 infantry squads and a Tor. We have the artillery, yes, but one of them not being reloaded right now. The Grad really should just stay closer to the Sklatna. Having to run those errands with the supply trucks is a lot of extra micro that you really don't want to invest into, whilst the on Black Forest, where you have to fight everywhere at once anyways. Meanwhile, Morse Perry coming in for the town fight might still go on for a bit longer there, but now a real push here can happen for Golden Panzer. Has a Leo 2A3 leader. There's no CV here anymore because the BTR went down, trying to push forward. That means that Golden Panzer will be able to capture the town fully. Mehrzweckwaffe once more coming around with not enough AA on the other side to kill it off. The Tor not good enough to kill it on its own. Gets a missile in at least, but another successful kill and evacuation for the Mehrzweckwaffe. Meanwhile, on the other side, yeah, no fighters to stop it anymore. Only a single Tor, and you need a lot of AA, usually as 27th, to keep your really valuable assets alive, and currently Perseus just can't afford that.
Yeah, the air units that Perseus has bought have work kind of they've been mediocre at best, and the tool that would actually win this match, which is the stacked, safely well microed group of long range damage with T80BVs and BMP3s, these just have not been manifesting here. We saw the engagement being taken around the same area at the north part of Alpha Town, where the BMP3s are currently. This engagement had them fight 2 sides at the same time, so the increased potential of side shots and also attacking a position in which they could be flanked easily. This was the doom of the Soviet armor, and this was like multiple minutes worth of income being lost there. And that I'm not sure if that's something that Perseus can necessarily recover from. But it's also always possible that Golden Panzer, having all of these units, just starts being just a slightly irresponsible with them, and Perseus becoming just a bit more controlled. The Leopard 1A5s, they don't have that much survivability, and there is a Conqueror M coming up here.
Yeah, Conqueror's M is great. The issue really with 27th is that your combined arms is great, but it also is expensive. Like, you pay a bit more than any the other Soviet divisions. So you don't get TADBEs, so you have to pay the extra for the BV. You use your BMP3s, which cost you a good bit more than the BMP2s. You get your Conqueror's M, which is fantastic because it does 23 damage, but it also costs you more than a Conqueror, enormous Conquerors. So you have just fewer units on the battlefield than 39th or even a 79th to some extent, and that does mean that you will have to keep them alive, so your combined arms is functional, and Persia is currently not doing a greatest job at keeping them alive. But the artillery and the Sklatnazanya is a way back in here. He just has to hold the point situation for now. Grad getting another counter battery off against another 155mm allows the late game plan to come even more alive, because it removes the artillery play from the enemy side, but it still means you need to get some better trades here and need to keep your combined arms alive. Currently, the combined arms is not really on the point. It's only infantry with one BMP3. That's all the armor basically on the battlefield, and even that one once more going a bit too close to the enemy front line for my liking, with too many units here around it. Milan 2 already firing upon it? No, firing on the UARTs right now, but BMP3 really close to it as well. And yeah. Oh no! Magic Dust strikes again. Damn. Magic Dust removes another 3 infantry units from the battlefield. Mehrzweckwaffe here used really well. It finally goes down, but that's a 3 infantry squads that you really couldn't afford to lose there as Perseus, and this is starting to become a nearly unrecoverable position. It's not quite there yet, but you have to really get some of the best engagements out there and let the enemy take some terrible trades here a good couple times in a row as Perseus, and it will be tough to achieve that here now.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to take bad trades. Take good trades against the Seekerungs, the 35-point 11-man squads that you get like 12 of per card. We're 20 minutes in soon, and not a single point has been taken of supply from the forward supply point. And just the Akatsiya is not firing, even though the artillery was taken out. The town fight really could use the artillery support any time now here.
Yeah, we see a Leo 2A3 at least going down. The Perry coming around, Grad coming in here for a run, rocket run into the south as well, killing off the Fallschirmjägers there, which were already down to 1 hit point. Saperis will clean out the other one, so Perseus stops the tick here now in a second. That is obviously good, but he needs to achieve even more than that, though he has still 20 minutes for it remaining. We have the 2 artillery pieces. Milan 2 is on the kill list for the Akatsiya next. That could work out nicely as well on this range. I like that the Akatsiya is pretty close. Yeah, first hit, first kill. Great shot there for the Akatsiya. But at the same time, Motostrelki going down on the other side. Sicherungs here trying to push in. They are really replaceable infantry. Cheap and replaceable there, coming in, trying to get into the town, allowing the Leos to engage the Saperis here a bit more. The Saperis, meanwhile, will dominate the fight against the Sicherungs completely, as the Sicherungs have no veterancy, and 1 hit from the TNT stuns them down quite quickly, plus deals decent damage. The Akatsiya and the Grad reloading for some more firing into the south. We see more BMP3s coming in finally. TADBV would be somewhat helpful here once more as well, but I like that currently the infantry is the focus of Perseus, because those infantry fights were won first, then allow you to have the vision advantage, and then potentially allow you to snipe Leos, which have terrible side armor, with some good shots from TADBVs, Conqueror's M's, or maybe even kill them with artillery.
Yeah, I mean the leopards have horrible front armor as well. On the close
Oh, and the
range of.
Grad with pre-aim here coming in onto all the Sicherungs. Sicherungs start to run, but yeah, they're all in the fire. Oh no, it was only a short salvo though.
There were only
It
nine
didn't
left.
have enough reload. The Ural ran out of ammo, and that's why you should have it parked next to the fob. Perseus here trying to be a bit too fancy with that Grud, trying to keep it away from the FSP, but the FSP on this map is so far back that sneaking even up to it would take forever. So yeah, having the Grud back there wouldn't be really a mistake, and instead the Grud not having the ammo. Oh, it could have killed so many Sicherungs here. Instead, running out of ammo after 9 shots. That's
The,
that's
the, the, the
terrible.
grad the grad could have had full health if, when it was firing at the artillery, the Ural was shift clicked to go resupply itself. That way, the Ural would have been full by the time the salvo was over. But this just wasn't done, and this means that the forward supply point has not been value in any way here.
Yeah, it's still at 16,000 supply, and that's if you use the FSP, you have to use it more cleverly. Like this is terrible usage of the unit. BMP3 here trying to engage some Panzer Grenadiers now in the south. Spätstadt Redgar going down though. The Leo 1 it goes down as well. Conqueror's M here will deal with some martyrs, which is nice, but you need better traits here at this point as Perseus. The traits in the early game were relatively bad, so you need to get some good ones now, and we see another Mehrzweckwaffe coming in for the Conqueror's M, and it might even delete, delete some Motorstrelki. The UAT's barely surviving. Tornado goes down at least, but so does the MiG-23. But at least no more Mehrzweckwaffe coming in here. Though I'm not sure how much infantry even is remaining in Perseus' deck at this point, as already a lot of it was thrown in here, and yeah, meanwhile Sicherungs are really replaceable on the other side.
Yeah, and there is just we're seeing more Milans, more Martyrs, more Leopards, more everything. It's just the second PG just has so much stuff that it can bring out. As long as that you're trading up, keeping up these town fights with second Panzer Grenadier is one of their favorite things. There have been very good like specialized buys, such as having the Saperis, having the Grads. There are ways for 27th to win these fights, but these have been counterplayed by Golden Panzer, with the Merzixwaffe generally.
Yeah, and Golden Panzer going the safe route here, not leaving the Leo 283, which is somewhat damaged in the zone, getting it back to the Unimogs for repairs for now. Has an M110 also out now, which allows him to get good artillery hits on enemy infantry as well, once spotted by the Sicherungs. Martyrs with good smoke play here. Leo 283 now engaging the TADBV, gets the stun down there. The TADBV needs to smoke off immediately, gets the smoke off at least before the next shot, but means it is pretty combat inefficient now as well, and there is no supply up here. We have 16,000 supply in the rear, but no usage of it in this game whatsoever. Like, no great supply runs to the front line to keep these infantry constantly resupplied. The supply game here really terrible, and that is something you just can't let happen if you already invest that heavy investment into the early game supply into that early game hit that you take to your income when you use the FSP.
So there is an alternate reality here in which these fights would be had with a group of 3 to 4 T-80BVs going out there, shooting a salvo, destroying a tank or two, and then retreating. Considering there isn't really that many air units that can reliably kill heavy tanks on Golden Panzer's side, but those tanks were used in kind of desperate and risky counterattacks. So air units didn't have to strike the T-80s. The Milan twos and the side shots did that for them.
Yeah, Gloom Panzer here coming out 2-0 in the end out of this series. A really solid play here of second Panzer Grenadier. A pretty similar playstyle to what he did before with the second UK. Yeah, really playing one of the most meta kind of playstyles that we currently have in this game, with these divisions that have the advantage of forward deploy mixed up with the follow-up heavier tanks, and yeah, the Tornado Mehrzweckwaffe being the heroes of this duel, even though they killed one of the heroes. But that's yeah, you sometimes
A
have to call in
rounding
the fire
error.
mission
That's
danger
an
close.
infantry. Yeah, that's an infantry rounding error for second PG. You can kill a single Seeker nobody cares.
And yeah, the Special Red guy conquers M's here. Really important kill with that tornado. Removing enemy recon from the battlefield, removing strong enemy AT from the battlefield with those within a split second. And yeah, that really allowed uh, Golden Panzer here to get on par. And Perseus just not really getting into their own game plan here, which always obviously is tough, but you just have to keep on going, even though the losses in the early game were somewhat tough. If you set yourself up for a game plan like that, like the artillery spam one with the FSP, you have to really be on point with that artillery spam, because I think there was absolute chances for those Grats and the Akatsuya to at least stop Golden Panzer long enough that you have a chance on a comeback in the late game, but they didn't fire enough and rounds in this game because they never got that supply that was set up for them.
Yeah, I would like to say we have seen second Panzergrenadier being played in more passive ways, especially on maps such as Airport, where we've seen players go take defensive positions and immediately transition into artillery. But so I've been and I'm happy with Golden Panzer playing this more kind of traditional aggressive way of trying to gain maximum amount of positions for free at the start, and then exploiting these positions to take the kinds of fights that we saw happen here, the kinds of fights where the T-80BVs can't just put their front armor towards the enemy and keep on firing with their autoloader. The reason the engagements were so bad was because Golden Panzer started the game by by putting having the opener Fashimjägers go into the enemy town. And that was when the battle line was formed. If they hadn't done that, the ability for Perseus to, and we need to remember, Perseus had an extremely like kind of risky, like long-term opener. But if we had had a Golden Panzer do a more passive, more safe opener, Perseus could have maybe like transitioned into a mid-game powerhouse. But the aggro may have prevented this.
Yeah, and yeah, with that, this series is coming to an end, but we have another one coming up, guys, for you. So yeah, we're going to a short break, and then we're gonna be back with more games for you coming, going back into the Division 1 area.
Gonna be a big one. I'm happy about this.
So yeah, we are back with another Division 1 banger with the winner of the Super Tournament on the left side here, Pro Comi, whilst we have a veteran on the right side with Pure Tanner, and we have two really aggressive divisions coming up. But before we go into that, a quick shout out to the Matcherino page where you guys can help support the prize pool of the tournament. You don't even have to pay anything, and you can still add money to the prize pool. All you have to do is click the claim code button here on the right side on the website. Matcherino link in the chat on Steam, on Twitch right now, in the description on YouTube, and yeah, you can add money for free, or you can be a really cool guy like Cheesh, Redcast, William here, and actually contribute money directly. Yasp coming in with $20 as well. Big thanks here, guys, for the support. Already at $146. Let's see how far we can get till the end of the season. And yeah, with that said, let's see what the top level players here have for us coming up. What do you think about the 35th start here? All right.
The 35th start here, I think it's this is a P. Tanner full send, I believe, a patented fan favorite since yesterday. P. Tanner is sending a bunch of Desalniki Iglas, a massive group of Iglas actually, with the Spetsnaz and Desalniki Metis to go and take the middle point at X-Ray with only kind of a nominal force of OP Spetsnaz and Desalniki down south. Up north, we have a more defensive opener as well with OP Spetsnaz and Desalniki Metis. So we're not seeing BMD2s, we're not seeing helicopters, we're really not seeing the standard 35th opener, largely probably because the SAS completely negates the helicopters, and most likely not going to be smart to buy planes either until the SAS are taken care of. So we're seeing 35 go straight in with the best infantry units it can offer, and who knows if this is going to pay out, considering the Pro Comi actually has maybe the better positions to get into X-ray, but the units have been slightly conservatively positioned, so that I believe the Soviets will get into the buildings there.
Yeah, we see a couple of Warrior Milans here coming in the rear as well. The Fox and the SAS in the south, one SAS in the north, and then yeah, four infantry squads actually in the middle, two SAS, armored mobile scout, and a sniper. But Spetsnaz on the other side. Obviously the CQC heroes, even stronger than the SAS and CQC, thanks to being a 12-man squad, having submachine guns as well, and having the RPO. So they really bring the pain to the enemy if they can go into the CQC engagement. Currently though, yeah, they are fighting against airmobile scouts, which with their 4 MGs also can bring a lot of damage onto the enemy. Spetsnaz pushing forward up north, and we see supply trucks coming in immediately to resupply them as well. The BTR Skrets taking a bit of a boat trip here, with their lovely little machine gun on top, trying to get it into a position where they can give fire support, I guess, with their 1MG and especially their ZSU-23 AA piece. Whilst we have the first Harrier out, what is it targeting? It actually goes for the Desalniki Medis, and it flies over a lot of Iglas, so good bait here by Tanner. The Iglas already starting to pay off here. The Desalniki Medis, a good unit, but absolutely worth less than a Harrier GR3. So good first kill here, good first blood for Tanner, who is on a +4 as well.
Yeah, and can I just point out that the Spetsnaz RPOs, with the RPO incendiary launchers, have already been resupplied to put back there to be able to have more flames at these fortified house battles. The SAS haven't really been part of the fight because they've been isolated outside of the 500-meter range. The combat was done by snipers and air mobile scouts. Meanwhile,
Sniper's doing a great job though. Sniper's getting a kill onto another Desalniki Medis. That will allow the warriors here to come around. This OP Spetsnaz, the Odleni Podolichki Spetsnaz being caught out in the open by the warrior Milan as well. And that leaves no AT here around if they go down. And that would be quite devastating as well. I don't like the investment into a fighter here by Tanner, because yeah, more reinforcements on the ground, I think, could have been necessary here, getting Conquerors, for example, into that silo on the right side. Instead, investing into a plane when you already have good air defense, thanks to all the Eagles coming around. And yeah, no AT here around. So even the Saxons can just drive forward and bully the enemy. They start to run out of ammo here, the Saxons. One of them already is out of ammo. So that's maybe the saving grace here for Tanner. But yeah, the Warrior, if it gets close, the OP Spetsnaz at least survived for now. So they, with their RPG 29, potentially could still stop that. But still a bit painful here to not have any other AT around anymore than a one hit point OP Spetsnaz right now.
Yeah, heavy investment to the artillery on both sides, but we're seeing Pro Comi down south reinforce the two SAS and push up the token force holding the Papa position, and the reinforcements that are coming up, both the are all so far away. This has to be an immediate takeover of ground for Pro Comi. In the middle here, the Warrior Milan is in a position where it's going to take a couple of seconds for the OP Spetsnaz to get at them. The SAS still haven't died despite being under fire from both the Grad V as well as the Nona. But this counter push, this push down south for Pro Comi is completely changing the situation. And now with very forward deployed 155mm howitzers, the Spetsnaz needs to leave the position immediately. There are still supply here, so the Spetsnaz are not done yet. But I doubt they're going to be able to get back in those positions now that the howitzers are there.
Yeah, and one of the big issues for 24th in the for 35th in this game is that the SS can bully your helicopters. They have great Stingers, manpads. There is also the rapiers, which are pretty decent against helicopters as well. So using one of their strongest assets, the Mi-24 Heinz, and especially then later on the Ka-50 potentially as well, isn't easy in this matchup. So you have to rely more on your Gruts, which are fantastic on this map, and on your really good infantry as 35th here. But them alone are not able to push easily forward. So once you get pushed out of position, like in the south, it's a bit tough to get back in there. Dejaniki Medi still getting nice kills here. Nice kill onto a Lynx helicopter as well. It was already able to unload its transport, but it's still 60 points denied to the enemy on the resale. Whilst in the north, Spetsnaz still fighting here versus SAS and armored rifles. They got reloaded one last time by the Gus supply trucks, which now get sold. And they have once more RPO shots here to catch out SAS out in the open. And together with the Grut, that is a really good catch. Really good timing there. Waiting for the Grut shots to come in before the Spetsnaz open up fire here onto the enemy units. SAS super low on hit points. Try to disengage. Desaniki Medi still firing upon them though. But on the other side, Gazelle Rockets getting into a strong position against the Spetsnaz as well. This is a bloodbath for both sides in right here in the making, I think.
But Protoss, if you look down south at the map, we're seeing P. Tanner send a backline commander with the Mi-24D Descent, the fast armored transport helicopter that generally comes with the recon. But the Spetsnaz commander was the Desantniki commander was switched into the recon transport, and now is getting up to the backline, possibly getting spotted by the Gazelle. But also, no, I think the Gazelle is fast enough. I think it may not actually meet.
We have a big push by Procomi in the town in the south as well, though. And that's a big problem here for Tanner. The Dejaniki Medis at least catching off a couple of the support units. And we have a couple of infantry units still sitting in here. Gazelle Rockets out of ammo for now. So they have been pushed back. Nonna desperately trying to salvage the situation as well. Meanwhile, a Hind going really low. Ooh, can the SAS finish it off? It's a 3-star veterancy infantry with great accuracy there. And yeah, we see a Hind going down in the north. It's so hard to use them whilst the SAS are still on the battlefield. So yeah, eliminating SAS is highest priority. 2 of them at least did fall in the center, but there is still 4 of them on the battlefield. 2 in the south, 1 in the center, 1 in the north, and yeah, Tanner can't eliminate these guys fast enough.
Yeah, the descent is dropping down on the back point right now. A Terrier Pioneer are coming out there, but fortunately the rockets and the rotary cannon of the Mi-24 can be may be able to deal with this, but Procomi immediately reacting, ordering a Harrier and helicopters. So this back point is not likely not going to be there for a long time. The down south, there was a traditional mistake made by Yuri Tanner of having two Desert Niki Metis together defending instead of one Desert Niki and one Desert Niki Metis. This meant that after Procomi realized this, Procomi just F moved two Saxons to touching distance under the minimum range of ATGMs of 350 meters, and thus got some free kills there for the Saxons.
Yeah, the rear zone will get captured back relatively soon by Procomi, but it's still a nice couple of points here. It's still a bit of a curveball thrown at Procomi here by Tanner, forcing Procomi to be a bit more like go away from the plan, investing micro into other things, maybe not controlling the frontline forces as well as possible. As a MiG-23 though bites the dust thanks to the SAS Stingers once more. Phantom AA coming around as well. Flying attack against the Mi-8 here potentially, but there's enough Strelas here that I feel like the Phantom wouldn't have the best of times if it tried to dive down here, and it's not a great helicopter hunter because it doesn't have a gun. Meanwhile though, the center, it looks like Tanner's forces are really on the brink of being eliminated here. As we see Gazelle rockets, we see the 155mm artillery pieces engaging the Spetsnaz as well. And there's no supply there anymore. We see the Akula coming in against the Challenger. That could be quite strong, but we still have SAS here on the front line as well. So yeah, Javelin coming up too. The Akula finds a hit, but it needs to get out there immediately. Getting microed back now, the SAS still have more Stingers coming. The Phantom gets the kill, and that's a terrible, terrible loss there. Yeah, that's the issue with this matchup. 35th, just not really able to get its helicopters on board, and the helicopter losses here are the most expensive losses that Tanner can take, as those Hinds are not cheap. And yeah, he needs to get rid of the SAS. He hasn't done that yet. Two of them running in the open right now, but he doesn't have a follow-up to it to really catch them there. One Desert Niki Med is engaging, but most likely only gonna get 2 or 3 kills there maximum, and that is painful. You need to get rid of the SAS, potentially even just with bombers, if necessary, suiciding to allow your helicopters to come in, but that's not what Tanner did, and he is paying the hard price for it.
Yeah, the Pro Commies buy of two of the surprisingly cheap 120 point howitzers in the back line here basically what was kind of the nail in the coffin. I don't know if it was the last one, but maybe the first one, because the main way that Tanner could fight on this area of the middle against these challengers and warrior Milans, not allow the mech blob to start building up, to not allow the mechanized units to trade up just because they have some amount of armor. The way to counter this would have been the Conquers. And the Conquers, there are multiple positions, towers, buildings where the Conquers could very efficiently work at, but the howitzers just completely negate all of these positions. So no, and so the challengers are basically allowed, at least for now, to just get free points. And there is very few things that are not helicopters or planes that can reliably take out mechanized forces fast. And the SAS, even though they might only be manpads, the SAS are supported by the Phantoms that are very good, very efficient, heavily armored AA planes. And this combo here is just allows the small amount of mechanized units, the zero-vet challengers and zero-vet warriors, to be a massive force multiplier for Procom.
Yeah, Harrier gets hit once here by the Strela, but gets through to kill the Mi-8. If it comes back here, yeah, MiG-23 comes in, gets the kill. Gazelle's scouting for a FOB. It seems like people know that Tanner likes to use them. Finds the Gret at least, so that might allow some counter battery here from the 155mm artillery pieces as well. Procomi with a bit of a mismove in the south, not quite realizing maybe how much infantry Tanner has amassed there. Moving 3 of his infantry squads in the open against 5 defensive position infantry units of Tanner, so his one of his SAS and 2 other relatively expensive infantry units there with an Airmobile Scout and Armored Rifle getting completely annihilated out in the open. So Tanner removing one more SAS from the equation, having it down to 3, and once they're all dead, helicopters could come around, though the question is how many helicopters can Tanner afford at that moment still. MiG-25 Bomber coming in here as the next unit, trying to get a big bombing runoff, though not a big fan of that plane. It has 500 kilogram bombs, which at least hit pretty hard, but it's still not really accurate with them, and not super reliable. First one gets the kill though, but at the same time the MiG-25 gets shot down by the Rapiers on the other side as well. Yeah, maybe another Grad salvo necessary here for the south. These Grads, really nice, they are cheap and they get reloaded quickly, and with 2 or 3 of them you can really bring a deadly salvo quickly onto the enemy. But
do they really reload quickly? It's 80 seconds, but well,
it is pretty quickly for and you get them especially reloaded quite cheaply for MSR. And
cheap.
the first 12 rockets are the important thing anyways, with an MLRS, plus they are super cheap with 135 points, so they are really great artillery pieces, especially because you can bring 4 of them at once, and then you have double the missiles, or like having double the missiles landing at the beginning, or at least having the same amount of rockets landing in half the time, however you see it, compared to normal Grads, making them really strong.
Yeah, I think the Grad V fulfills the same kind of a niche as the Harrier bombers do for the British. That you can have these cheap 150, 135 point these removal assets that can kill blobs of enemy infantry or or maybe blobs of enemy fortifications, and you can bring them out early on the game. You don't have to invest like 250 points for them.
Yeah, but Tanner mismicroing them in my eyes a bit, not focusing them on one point, and yeah, he did good damage here against the Armored Rifles, against the Warriors, but he didn't finish them off, and Pro Commie has been really good at keeping units alive and bringing them back into action. Tanner on the other side did it good in the beginning, obviously with the supply he had there, but since then, units of his have been always picked off and killed off, whilst Pro Commie time and again repairing their units, and if you don't kill them, yeah, they will be coming back in a couple of minutes time with full strength again once the supplies have arrived on the front line. Currently, not as many supplies there, but yeah, Pro Commie rectifying that issue with bringing 4 Bedfords in at once. And that's really a bit of a mistake here, I think, by Tanner, by splitting off these Grad salvos. Aiming now into the south again against the Terrier Pioneers, whilst more Dejanikis coming up to the front line. We have a Hind here, but it looks pretty rough for Tanner. The infantry fight's just not going his way because he doesn't find a solution for the Warriors. As now might be the time where you can start using Akula, but the Akula already died earlier. The Hinds already died earlier, and now you only have a AA Hind, which just can't do the job on its own.
Yeah. So the Warrior Melange really are the reliable way that when the British send their infantry forward, it doesn't matter if the infantry are going to necessarily win. The Desavniki, of course, all of them have the shock trade, so in buildings they do trade up generally. But any kind of serious engagement where Yuri Tanner invests a large amount of infantry can simply be targeted by all of these warriors and all of these challengers, all of these Gazelle rockets, and all of this artillery. So losing the infantry is not really relevant here because the infantry is the only thing that Tanner can reliably kill.
Yeah, and we really see the Terrier Pioneers now pushing forward. Artillery coming in onto the Nonna as well, doing good damage there now. I really love the artillery play that Pro Commie has evolved in since the 1.0 patch, with the artillery being super close to the front line. Yes, it's vulnerable to counterplay, but so far nobody counterplays it really. And he has been pretty good at keeping those 155mm somewhat active on the move as well. Grads now potentially coming in with the counter battery, yeah. But once more being split up in their fire, and once more with only 12 rockets, like with normal crowds, you can do that, but Tanner not reliably gonna kill these with just 12 rockets. Gets one killed, gets the other one killed in the north as well, so at least, yeah, 2 going down. The third one does survive in the south, though. But yeah, it still won't save Tanner here if he can't stabilize soon. Tanner needs a stabilization and needs a point at the same time, which achieving both here seems really unrealistic. BMD2 gets killed off by the Warrior Milans. Dejoniki out in the open, and I really want to see Tanner coming back here, but I can't see it happen right now.
Yeah, back in the primordial days of the early access, there used to be a division with a really strong forward deploy component, and that could bring out a significant enough group of tanks as well as a large amount of masked IFBs. And that division used to be called 35th. And nowadays they don't have the tanks anymore, so they have to rely on the other stuff. They have to rely on the very good artillery, considering it's an airborne division. They need to rely on their large amounts of armored helicopters, including their very high-tech Ka-50 tank killers and AA planes. And but the SAS just kind of naturally counterplays the helicopters, just removing one of the main ways that 35th could trade up here in the early.
Yeah, the
And
BMDs here now starting to work out quite nicely, but they're coming in quite late. Like, that we didn't see any BMDs earlier, I think, is a mistake. Their Conquerors take out the Warriors one shot. So having a couple of BMDs in defensive positions, also having them for fire support, and having some tool that can fire longer range on the ground, I think could have been good. But it feels like even like Tanner kind of forgot that this unit existed, focusing more on other stuff. And the Warrior even got a kill onto one of the Gruds here right now, removing one of the last kind of comeback potential units, and that doesn't even matter at this point, as Pro-Commie does get a neutralization on the rear point, making it a +6 situation, and that's 1 minute 24 remaining here. No CV on the battlefield for Tanner either to really capture anything here right now, so that 1 minute 24 is the last we will see of this game, so it's just here now for the show, with this last big engagement. Warriors pushing forward, and BMD's trying to defend, getting another kill here onto another Warrior, even with infantry inside, but at the same time MiG-23 going down, and yeah, it's just for the fireworks at this point.
3 SAS left on board from the 6 in the opener, which is a pretty good result in my opinion, considering only one of those SAS has completely managed to avoid fighting. In the early game, when the deployment by Pro-Commie happened at the middle point of X-ray, it was, I think, very smart to conserve the SAS, to not send them to go directly fight against the Spetsnaz. Having the cheaper and more affordable air mobile scouts, which are basically kind of machine gun squads with both light and medium machine guns, having those things slug it out against the Spetsnaz and take the Spetsnaz's RPO damage until the reinforcements could arrive and support the SAS getting into the close range. Those are just the small decisions that players like Pro-Commie just make correctly. Have like having a bad engagement with the 2 SAS in the opener could have actually made it so that uh, the Pro-Commie would have been driven off from the middle point, especially by the time Tanner had artillery. But taking the careful positions, microing them, and keeping them away from being targeted, having the cheaper units go and do the fighting, saved the SAS from a bad engagement.
Yeah, and we have a GG in the end here now, with Pro-Commie taking the game in 21 minutes time with that big push through the center and the south at the same time. Tanner, in the end, KD-wise, not terrible, but obviously 1,000 points is quite a lot at this point in the game, and like, yeah, it's just a bit too much pressure here coming from the second UK side. Really, still in my eyes, the top dog potentially in the game, especially once you eliminate engineered dragons. I think once that is changed, second UK will come back as the top division in the game for now. And yeah, it's hard to fight against them. 35th always had a bad matchup thanks to the SAS and their stingers. and Tanner really felt this time this game around. So 1-0 lead here for Pro Comi, and that's pretty rough for Tanner. And Pro Comi already pretty close with that to the playoff stage, winning against Mix 90 in the first match they played. So 3 wins on the board. With 4 wins, you are safely, basically, or nearly safely through to the playoffs. With the draw between Forward and Tanner, you already are safe through there. So Pro Comi only one map win away, whilst Tanner needs the next map basically to have his own chances in a good spot. Otherwise, he will need a win against Mix 90 and some luck to make it through to the playoffs. So the next map really important for both sides here. Let's get in there. Short break, and then we will be back with game number 2.
On 2 legs.
And here we go, everybody. Game number 2, Pro Commute versus Fury Tanner, and it is another hot one. It's American versus American action with uh, engineered dragons on both sides, with no real forward deployment, but a strong recon department on one side, and yeah, 8 versus 11, 2 of the top dog divisions. Which division do you see as stronger here right now out of the 2? And what do you think about the positions here?
I mean, I gotta say, Pro Comi with 8th mech is just seems to be the better one. It has more of the large infantry squads, giving it lots of retention in these short range grind fights that people generally have on the Lima Zulu axis here. It has a large amount of M1 Abrams, even enough to challenge 11th ACAV. It's got ITOs, it got TOTUs, it got Apaches, it got LGB bombers. It's got everything in large amounts, and we've seen Pro Comi on this map play an amazing methodical 8th infantry using both the most expendable low units to make contact with 11 and 10 man infantry squads, whereas the Abrams and the 50 cows can do the damage. We saw Pro Comi micro very well to not abuse, but let's say, but to use the opportunities given by 8th Infantry earlier. And Yuri Tanner, counter this, is absolutely not being careful. We're seeing an opener, if I may say so myself, with I believe, a whole card of Mech Rifles Dragon and a bunch of engineers, CEVs, and IHawk, all convoying it up to the Zulu Lima battle space.
Yeah, I
And
like the Kev as well that is coming in there. Uh, Green Archers, Tanner really using those recon radar vehicles lately a lot. I'm not sure if he's actually a big believer into them or if he just tests them. And like with Tanner, you never quite know with those kind of things. But we have seen them with the Razits in the last couple of games. This time it's the Green Archer, which is slower, but has one advantage, and that's the smoke launcher. And it has an MG3, but that MG3 really shouldn't matter. You shouldn't get these guys into the range of any enemy unit where it can fire its MG3. A felt supply point, for sure. Interesting usage here with 11th, which doesn't have any MLRS that can use it. And yeah, 11th, you say 8th is a stronger division currently. I have to disagree. On the ladder, at least, 11th is a fantastic deck, but what we see on the ladder is not what we see from Tanner here. What we see on the ladder is an insane F16 air spam, mostly to follow together with its strong recon push power. But Tanner plays this really conservatively, like with the filled supply point, with some Cobras. Yeah, the quick fix is the thing that allows the air spam to really hit hard because it has 40 ECM. We see it here now as well, but I don't think we will see an air spam from Tanner. Never known to be a big air spammer in his time in Steel Division. Never really done it in WARNO either, so I don't think that's what we're gonna see from him here. But it's for sure a curious opener here out of the 11th.
yeah, so I was expecting these transport infantry to move in and try to get an engagement immediately. We're already seeing Pro Comi lean into the late game side of things with iHawk, Chaparral, and M110 being deployed already. M110, of course, being the heaviest artillery cannon in the American arsenal. But yeah, knowing that there's only the single mech rifles Dragon, having like 4 to 5 vehicles shoot at that thing could take it down pretty easily. But Tanner with the +2 just seems to be waiting for Pro Comi to get into engagement range. There isn't that much on for Tanner that can actually kill an Abrams. So might be a might be that after spotting the Abrams, the plans were changed for
We
the
see,
horsemen.
we see more mech rifle moving forward. LRS, the only unit in the south here for Pro Comi. Uh, but there's not super much for Tanner either. The Tanner probing nicely with the Panzer Grenadier. I really like that move. It's a super expendable infantry unit. But if they can take that town up there, that's a lovely staging ground for a late game. So if you realize there's nothing there, just take it. And then you have an amazing staging ground towards Oscar and the enemy in the later stages of the game. M109s on and M110s here immediately getting into action. I really love how Pro Comi uses that artillery from close proximity to get that extra accuracy from the get-go. Doesn't even have a recon unit here, but it will still hit like a absolute hammer against the mech rifles. So, oh, it's a building too far forward, I guess, to hit the mech rifles. And quick reaction here from Tanner, getting it out alive. Mech rifles actually staying unharmed there. Meanwhile, 2 M109s here from Tanner, ready to just fire non-stop throughout the game. Already on the counter battery, but Pro Comi, too good of an artillery player to be caught like that. Moving the M110 immediately.
Yeah, Cobra taking out an engineer squad and driving back the infantry advance there. But Cobra getting hit by Chaparral is a big bad hit right there. The Abrams is still moving out there with no weapons that can realistically damage the Abrams. The only ones countering it currently are the short range dragons, which can side shot, but that's really about it. We're seeing the M1A1, the Recon Abrams coming up, also known as the forward deployment Abrams, but not used in this opener from Tanner. Very surprising. Generally, 11th ACAV, considering its construction, wants to play strong early games and kind of scale into the tank spam in the late game. But here we're seeing Tanner just desperately wanting Pro Comic to start the attack, wanting to play reactively, and I think that's actually might be a good idea. Or we should assume that Tanner has probably watched the earlier games that Pro Comic had with 8th on this map, where Procomi did this kind of this gameplay where the non-vet infantry go and do an engagement, and with the Abrams and the artillery doing the damage right behind them. And this might be a way to kind of prepare and counter this, to not have the engagement until Procomi is in the trap, is inside there, to not allow your forces to be whittled down before the main engagement.
Yeah, Tanner also conserving all his fire support M113s, which all have a 50 cal on top, unlike the German variants, and the CAF pretty nicely. And Procomi will try to push this town now with engineers, but engineers don't have any AT weapons. And even the mech rifle dragons, if they get into the town fight, might not be in the minimum standoff range to fire their ATGM against the vehicles. So these M113s and CAFs could really be coming in clutch in that CQC fight there. The only thing that has a short-range AT weapon is the mech rifle Law, which will come in as well, but even that will struggle to kill a CAF. So I think the CAF here, it is not a vehicle that we see super often, but we see it more and more lately. And if you use it correctly, and I think Tanner currently uses it correctly, it can really become clutch in these fights. With its 50 cal on top, with its especially big howitzer gun that can stun enemy infantry quickly, allowing your infantry to win the engagements. And yeah, so far Procomi not taking super much space and paying quite a lot of hit points on his infantry and a couple of infantry squads completely for it so far.
Yeah, one of the weaknesses of having large squads is that all of those squads have a collective, or the troops in that squad have a collective suppression and cohesion factor. So if the 11-man squad gets stunned, all of the 11 guys stay stunned. Whereas if you had smaller squads, obviously the cohesion damage would be divided between those smaller squads.
Yeah, we see Cobras on both sides here rotating around. The quick fix coming in as a bit of a bait, finding the Stinger thanks to its 40 ECM not being hit. That's really good usage there. M1A1 versus M1A1 ACAF here being an interesting engagement as well. Procomi that did deal more damage, so Tanner currently the one that has to disengage out of it. Whilst the Cobra finds a lot of the M113 dragons there, will struggle to kill it, but does a lot of damage. C-Knight in the north is dangerous for the M1A1, so Procomi can't engage with his M1A1 any deeper there. Meanwhile, the infantry fight in the town, both sides here with a lot of forces. Another side with overwhelming units there though, but the question is how much damage can the artillery do? 2 M110s by now already out for Procomi. We see the 2 M109s on the other side for Tanner. Tanner obviously planning for having the artillery advantage in this game with the FSP, but the question is, will that actually be the case with the 2 M110s on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, there is a large demand for supply here, considering how many of these large squads and vehicles are already getting damaged. And maybe this is just, I don't know, I believe 11th Horse actually doesn't really have that much supply in general. So maybe the field supply point is just kind of an unexpected way to have the kind of late game.
M1A1, Toe 2 barely gets out of line of sight. Procomi there with the extra micro coming in. He first let it just go down the road, then it would have been hit, but microed just behind the building in time, and the Bradley here on the other side not being microed in time. He goes down to the Toe 2, smoke comes out just a second too late. Painful for Tanner, losing a really, really strong recon vehicle there with the M3A2 Bradley that has the extra frontal armor. Chaparral engaging the Cobras now as well, so those need to get back immediately as well. Tanner with good micro there gets the Cobras out of the range of the Chaparral, but the Chaparral would be a prime target for the M109s here, I think now. M109s currently a bit wasting their rounds against an M113 in the north, trying to hit infantry in the town as well. Meanwhile, the M110s actually trying to counter battery, but yeah, good artillery micro on both sides here so far. Both sides not being caught out in any counterfire. Pivot gets the Cobra of Procomi here most likely. Oh no, it switched its targets. It switched its targets to the wrong unit. Okay, gets onto the Cobra here, but it doesn't get a hit because it's moving.
What was that? 2% accuracy at motion for the pivots. Oh no, it didn't do a single hit of damage from moving back.
The movement there, killing off the pivot's accuracy. 2 M1A1s pushing in the north. 1 M1A1 of Tanner trying to get the flanking shot. Gets the flanking shot. Great movement. Great movement by Tanner. But loses the ACAF in this, the M1A1 ACAF at the same time in the south to a TOW 2. So, or maybe the Ranger Dragon. I think it's a combination of both. So yeah, both sides there losing important tanks. Both sides here, though, with great micro across the board. But Pro Commie now getting a good amount of forces here into the town, and now having the superior firepower with the infantry there. And the M109s there will be hard-pressed to stop that. Like, they are the ones that need to do the job, but they don't have an easy job in hand of themselves. Iltis leader goes down, at least the Ranger Dragon getting killed off by M1A1s. Chaparral now being hunted. I think that's the right target, because if you kill that, the Cobras can clean house. But currently, also Pro Commie with good micro on that Chaparral, and not letting it get killed. Meanwhile, 810 on the other side. iHawk, can it find the shots here to protect that M1A1 in the north? iHawk does miss. M1A1 will go down. iHawk misses again. Stingers find a hit. Pivot, can it finish the job together with the iHawk maybe? Oh my goodness, the 8-hand survives. That's just really, really bad luck for Tanner there. That 8-hand getting out alive is super lucky. But that's how the RNG gods sometimes play. Yeah, unfortunate times there for Tanner. 8-10 at least will be out for a long while, but getting the kill there obviously would have been important.
Yes, Tanner must give more offerings to the prize pool to avoid the wrath of the WARNO guards. The Pro Commie's TOW 2 in the southwestern side of the in the buildings has fired 5 of its 6 missiles. I think like 4 of those missiles have hit. It's gotten very, very important damage against Abrams on Tanner's side, thinning out this growing Abrams blob like very significantly.
Yeah, Tanner having good micro of his Cobras, but the Chaparral now actually pushing through the town, and that's a big issue. Yeah, and as Pro Commie is close to fully controlling the town, the Heimatschützen being decimated quite heavily already. We see the MOR-10s now most likely going to take out the mech rifle in a second as well, as the LRS there spot them, and the MOR-10s with great hits starting to hit them. Actually switching target now, so not quite finishing off the mech rifle, but that's gonna be done by the engineers here most likely in a second. Meanwhile, switching onto the M1A1 that Tanner has there. So Tanner needs to get moving, and Tanner gets moving. Yeah, really keeping these units active. That's the difference between Division 1 and Division 2 and 3 players here. I think pretty well visualized, like keeping these units active, that extra micro saving you from MOR-10 fire is what we didn't see from a couple of other players in the last couple of games we saw in the last couple of days, and that's really, really important here. When you know the enemy has M110s, you don't want to have any of your M1A1s standing still.
Abrams getting targeted by both of the SPGs from Tanner's side, getting stunned and getting some hits in, but likely not dying there. And the counterattack from Tanner, consisting of engineers and engineers' combat transports, as well as more Heimatschützen, moving into the town.
Oh, TOW with a side shot here. TOW with a side shot. Tanner trying to get frontal armor into position, but just barely doesn't get it there. Slightly misclicked the retreat and gets side shotted by a TOW 2, losing another M1A1. That TOW 2 here really, that should have been a focus point of Tanner's artillery as well. He knew about it. Like, that's the only thing where I would say the artillery macro of Tanner so far slipping a bit, that wasn't targeted, and it cost him dearly. That TOW 2 really was one of the most pivotal units so far in these fights. Cobra on the other side, though, gets eliminated. Tanner isn't out of this game by any means, but that TOW 2 here really giving Pro Commie the advantage that he currently has. It's not a major advantage, but it's a sizable thanks to that kill here nonetheless by now.
Yeah, Pro Commie's methodical unit positioning and these perfect balanced combinations and these careful engagements really just like feel like Pro Commie is writing the book on how to play 8th Infantry, on this map. Meanwhile, Yuri Tanner sending the helicopters and at the southern side and buying a Heimatschützen, possibly trying to put pressure on Oscar, realizing that this full-on massive grouping of units of Pro Commie means that the Pro Commie must have had to cheap out on defending the other fronts.
Yeah, we
And
have a
there are
Stinger
no
coming in.
AA units out there. There's a single Stinger coming in and a single Abrams moving in,
Pro
rotating
Commie with a really
to the
quick
south.
reaction though with the Stinger buy-ins now, but it might be a bit too late if Tanner calls the shot now. Tanner is still a bit hesitant, has the quick fix now coming up. It should have been with the other 2 helicopters here from the get-go. Meanwhile, we see counter battery against the M109s, but Tanner just moved them a slight bit forward. Will get stressed out here on the M109s, but not take any real damage. Once more, good movement there, dodging the M110s. Really, that movement on Tanner's side has been perfect so far. Really solidifying his status of one of the best artillery players in the game. You don't want to be caught in an artillery duel with this player in blue here. But Pro Commie so far not doing badly either. And the M110s here have dealt a good amount of damage as well, so these two really showing their prowess in that regard. Whilst Tanner starting to get back into the town for real. Gets an M1A1 shot by his M1A1 ACAF. Pro Commie realizing he can't take that fight. Perfect smoke once more. Getting out of there after shooting the M1A1. So ACAF as well. So really a perfect timing between getting your shot off and then smoking before the second shot of the enemy comes out. Taking that hit onto the enemy as well. Doesn't get damaged for free basically. So really shows you what kind of caliber this player is.
Okay, so the Abrams is actually rotating back up to the north as the Quick Fix and Green Archer are moving down south. So the 2 Stingers are gonna have to fight against this 3 helicopter push here. And if the Quick Fix can be targeted first by the Stingers, this means that the 40% ECM may and is currently allowing a first dodge. And Tanner not reacting obviously to this, but this would be the moment for the helicopters to move in here. A second shot going in,
Yeah,
missing
quick
once
fix
again.
now. Disengaging actually though. Tanner doesn't want to risk it. Wants to see the what the Heimatschützen see first, I guess. Not quite knowing what is there. Doesn't have the vision we have. Otherwise, he could have moved in the helicopters a while ago. But obviously, if you run in there and then there is a 50 cal or a pivot or something like there, and you lose your really expensive helicopters, or like not expensive but important helicopters in this matchup, that would have been quite devastating. You kind of want to have the C-Knight around to always threaten M1A1s. The TOW 2 on it is really, really valuable. Tanner clearing the town actually in the north at the same time, so he doesn't really need to push the south right now. But yeah, obviously could have been a great victory there nonetheless.
Yeah, the call to send the helicopters back was smart because the A10 could have just wiped all of them out. A10 coming here now and 5 missing, hitting a Marder Milan actually, and getting hit. A10 so far has not been value. Taking out the A10 or just putting it out of commission for a moment could be a big victory for Tanner. Considering how much damage those things can actually do. Really,
yeah, no
realistically,
F-16s
A10
here
can do
coming out of
massive
Tanner's side though. I would have liked to see one at least here in the rear, trying to catch the A10. A10 now using its value on the south, killing one unit there, going for a second one with the Heimatschützen out in the open, just using its gun run there, dealing a bit of damage. And we have a bit more of a push now coming up for Tanner in the south. Heimatschützen being supporting a Humvee, whilst the Marder in the south rolls forward as well. The M109s firing onto the south could open it up quite quickly as well. Meanwhile, in the north, an M1A1, an M1 CP. Yeah, there is no M1A1 CPs for 8th. A normal M1 CP coming in here, contesting the town again, getting Pro Commie now ahead of Tanner in points, who had a bit of a point lead from the start. So that means that Pro Commie is now in the driver's seat, though for now it's still in the range of a draw. But yeah, the points I think will change still a good bit till the end of the game. And the M109s here with some good hits against Pro Commie's tanks. Pro Commie will smoke out again and drive out of there, as he doesn't want to get shot by another M1A1 ACAF here on the way out. Good micro there once more from our player in red, really showing how the game is supposed to be played at the moment.
Yeah, another A10. This time with a slightly suspicious pilot name coming to down south and targeting, but there is nothing outside of the CEV and the Heimatschützen there to be to fire at it, and the CEV goes down, but the quick fix gets hit on the way out.
Yeah, but we
But a
have
fighter
finally an
going down.
F16 coming in, and it gets the kill. It takes the wrong turn, and it takes a lot of Stinger fire. Stingers do miss. Eyehawk does get a hit. Meanwhile, we have... Oh! We have a Hunt 48 M10, M110s here, I believe, from Tanner, going on with a Cyanide and a Cobra going around the northern lake. Tanner really loves to do his deep line enemy rear line dashes here. Not finding the M110s, they're too close to the front line. They are really close to the Eyehawk as well, which is a bit unfortunate for the Cobra here right now. But the Cyanide still might find an M1 A1 here if ProCommy doesn't realize this in time. Cobra does reveal itself now with that rocket barrage against the Humvee. Cyanide is hunting down the M1A1 in the south though. If it can catch that, this would be a massive victory here for Tanner, but F16 being called in now for ProCommy. Goes for the northern Cobra first though. Does dive down on it now. Tanner trying to dodge away. The UH helicopter on the ground there, yeah, starting to avoid the TOW 2. Tanner not catching the M1A1 on the way, and that's a bit unfortunate. But once more, a great idea here. Spotting the M110s now as well for some counter battery, so the M109s might be successful this time around. As the M110s not moving yet, a catch on one of those M110s alone already would be really big. There we go, guns firing, guns blazing, M110 immediately starts moving though. Great reaction by ProCommy. Might still be caught in time. Good hit there, gets routed. Can one of these shots finish it off? Oh, it's solo, but it survives. One more flying hit. Finishes it off. Okay, good catch by Tanner. The helicopter invasion already might have paid off with that. Still annoying the F-16s here. Cluster 1 coming in to finish the job though. Both Cobras finally down, and the push in the center. M1A1 versus M1A1. It's a close one. Heimatschützen not in range to help out, but the M1A1 of ProCommy does miss its next shot, so the M1A1 of Tanner can finish the job here potentially. Yes, it does. CV here really important. Cluster F-16 in the sky though. If that can get the jump onto the M1A1 of Tanner, that would be a bit painful. Whilst Tanner is driving into the south. Hunts down the F-16 on the other side instead. Might be the mistake here by ProCommy, instead of going for the hit onto the CV tank, as that at least allows the CV to get into the zone, potentially even capture it completely. No AA in the south though, so the F-16 might get the kill there. It does miss actually. Loses line of sight there as the M1A1 gets into the buildings. Tanner with a really strong play here in the south.
Yeah,
M1A1
so
might not even be spotted anymore as an A10 comes in as well. Shouldn't move too much around though, as once it gets spotted, the A10 has a field day there. So yeah, M1A1 should hide as good as possible right now, as the capture does happen, and Tanner on a +2 now will overtake ProCommy in no time here. And yeah, the kill on the M110s here, really big as well. Tanner really now with the artillery lead, gets the field supply point used up with some quick fix repairs as well. What a play here from Tanner.
Yeah, so Tanner, like so far, looking at Tanner's resupply situation, the small infantry tab of Tanner has been kept alive by a very aggressive game of using supplies, using large amounts of supply vehicles at the same time to quickly resupply these units, to not allow ProCommy to grind them down slowly. We can also see that even though ProCommy has been very careful about not overextending and about resupplying its own units, that the amount of field supply from the field supply point being used is already like 4,000, and this is including all of the natural supply that comes in with the trucks. So the field supply point might actually be the surprising factor here that allows the 11th horse to keep on trading well against 8th, which is supposed to be the more stable, the deeper division here.
We have a bit of an issue for Tanner in the north now, though, as he is outnumbered 3-1 in M1A1 numbers there. And one of the issues of 11th is their lack of high-hitting ATGMs. They only have the Bradleys and their Cyanide helicopters for the TOW2s. They don't have TOW2 teams. So dealing with the M1A1s is not an easy task. And the M1A1 off Tanner gets suicide bombed there by an F-16, so now it's 3 M1A1s against 0, and the best ATGM currently on the battlefield is a Milan 1 in the form of the Martyrs. The Dragon 1 can help out a bit as well, but that's a big issue. We see double Cyanide coming in now as helicopters. The Chaparral a bit far behind right now, so it can at least maybe push the M1A1s back for now, but something better needs to be done, and at the same time we see a kill on the M1A1 leader in the south as ProCommie on a good way to get that town back under control as well, and that means that Tanner needs to hold the north. Tanner only on a 120 point advantage, 140 point, 150 point advantage, so he needs to get control over the north back with 13 minutes remaining here. Cyanide helicopters coming in nice. I really like that move, but he needs more than that, as 2 more M1A1s coming in for ProCommie in the north, and that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, iHawk going down here to try to prevent ProCommie from playing, getting too much value out of the air. But getting a hit on the C-Knight is massive, making the C-Knight having minus 75% accuracy with the TOW2 missiles, which are one of very few things when you actually.
Yeah, the other Cyanide gets a kill onto a Bradley, gets a hit on to another M1A1. Artillery trying to come in as well. The LRS there in a really fantastic spot for ProCommie, spotting all the units out there is so important. And we see the Chaparral now pushing towards the Cyanide as well. Tanner at least with the quick reaction, the other one going back. F-16 coming in to bomb that Chaparral actually. That's a great idea, gets the kill. Will allow helicopters to come in once more, but currently both helicopters on a resupply run. We see one Bradley here. If that can get a side shot onto an M1A1, that would obviously be really helpful as well, but the LRS still there with the spotting capabilities. M109, one of them out of ammo right now, needs to be reloaded quickly as well. We have one M1A1 CV still in the town, and ProCommie for now disengaging again, not wanting to risk here fighting on into that more and more stronger defensive position of Prior Tanner, especially considering that we have an A10 in the sky and that we have no Chaparral on the other side more for ProCommie. Really good reaction here with the M1A1s. The quick fix tries to spot. Not sure if it sees everything here right now. The A10 doesn't seem to have a target. Yeah, good smoke there from ProCommie as well.
Anything currently.
And great hit by the iHawk, taking out the A10 out of the equation. F-16 coming in for the quick fix, does miss. iHawk on the other side gets a hit in as well, but an F-16 AA will stop the quick fix's adventures here over the water most likely. There we go, gets it killed off. Ilta's CV actually gets killed off by the M110 in the town as well, so the next time the CV of ProCommie comes in, it's a full-on capture. A new Humvee CV called in by Tanner immediately to try to prevent that. Really necessary here. You don't want to get a +2 tick here going for ProCommie for too long. Meanwhile, M109's once more being reloaded. M1 ACAF still hasn't found the LRS here. The LRS being absolute MVP right now for ProCommie. That one hit point unit, super frustrating for Tanner here.
Yeah. Early on, a couple of minutes ago, Tanner actually sent 2 helicopter Cobras down south to try to maybe put a bit more pressure up, but forgot to micro them and unfortunately lost them both to the Stinger. But up north here, we're seeing ProCommie decide that the time to be afraid of overextensions is over. We're getting the final 10 minutes of the game. And ProCommie knows that no matter how well Tanner has been trading or reinforcing, with this large, massive amount of zero vet units, Pro Comi just has more stuff, and it's time for that stuff to come out here. Earlier on, yes, 10-20 minutes ago, being irresponsible could have allowed Tanner to snowball and to exploit the overextension, but at this point, with the A10s out, with all of this, all of the armor out here, and A10 going out and probably getting a free C Knight here as well. This is going to be the Göttendämmerung for the 11th cav, forward supply point or not.
In the C Knights in good spots really would be helpful right now. An A10 run with good side shots potentially as well. Trying to go for the iHawk right now, but the iHawk still protected, and we have instead the A10 on Pro Commi's side. One M1A1 does bite the dust, but the Bradley on the other side gets killed off as well, thanks to LRS spotting, and ooh, we see the A10 here pushing for kills once more. And the iHawk once more getting moved. M109s won't find anything there. +2 for Pro Commi once more coming. We have another M1A1 leader on the battlefield here for Tanner. A10 being pushed back by the Stinger. But at the same time, M1A1's ACAF here for Tanner now being attacked directly by Mech Rifle Dragons. And the M1A1s of Pro Commi now smell the blood in the water coming around the town. And once they are in range of the M1A1 ACAF here, which is already pretty low, they will dominate that fight. The Cyanites all shut down, or actually one being run to the south, one being brought into the rear here, currently landing there, but none in the position here to help out in the north. And that's a big problem. Like, not having anything with enough AT power to really stop this push around the northern town. And yeah, just this investment into pure M1A1 firepower by now by Pro Commi, with 0 vet Abrams nonetheless, so to just have the numbers is quite intense here for Tanner.
Yeah, in this kind of a methodical way that Pro Commi is playing 8th, you don't have to have excellent singular units that can 1v1 the enemy, because you're never going to take engagements in which you're doing that. Pro Commi only takes the engagements when all the pieces have been methodically set into place, and that allows the numbers to work very much in his favor. A real world kind of counterpart could maybe be like Zhukov's peak battle doctrine of the Soviet Union, where understanding that with the large amount of units and large amount of manpower, the forces can be put into motion in such a way that they can negate a quality advantage from the enemy. And that, of course, when you're playing 8th, the quality advantage of the enemy is not even going to be that high generally, because you're still going to have the 11-man mech rifle squads and Abrams, even if they are 0 vet.
Yeah, we see another trade of Abrams here, but Pro Commi now with just so many units in the front line. iHawk gets finally killed off by the M109s. The M109s really being the MVPs on Tanner's side non-stop in this game, but he only has one M1A1 here remaining. There are still 3 on the other side, a 4th one coming in. We see an iHawk and a Chaparral to push back the Cyanide once more. And the south, we see this Cyanide once more sharking for stuff. I think it should move north though, if it wants to make a difference in this game anymore. I think it should just try to kill the M110, try to kill maybe an M1A1 with his rear shot here. But it's fishing in the south. I don't see Tanner pushing anything into the south though. I think the only hope that Tanner would have in this game would be a massive push through the north, but that is highly unlikely with only 6 minutes remaining as well.
Yeah, Tanner needs to engage every enemy unit with everything that he has, including both Abrams CP, artillery, and CEV, and the C Knights as well.
But yeah, losing the C Knight in the south now to another F-16, never being able to get air dominance, as Pro Commi has been really on top of killing off the iHawks every time they come around as well. Tanner had kept them moving, but never loaded them back in. A bit of a misplay there on Tanner's side of things. Meanwhile, 3 M1A1 CVs on the battlefield, but they don't buff each other, so you don't really profit from 3 of them at once. And you pay a bit extra for it as well. Cyanide helicopter moving around in the north. Yeah, we need a capture point run from Tanner, but it's just a bit too much here for Pro Commie, and that's always it with Pro Commie, right? Like it's not feeling super oppressive, but it always feels oppressive. He's always having the advantage. Like he's never being caught off guard, and that's what makes him so strong and so scary of a player. Like we haven't seen Pro Commie being caught off guard in the last uh, 10, 15 games that we have seen of him with the Super Tournament, with the league. He always has a plan, and he's always the one in the driver's seat.
Yeah, Pro Commie really reminds me of a less sympathetic T-Man plays, because T-Man plays also plays similar methodical styles with extremely competent decision making. But unlike Pro Commie, T-Man messes up openers constantly. So T-Man is the most sympathetic popular character you see, because people will always see him rising up from messing up the first 5 minutes. Not always, but sometimes. Whereas Pro Commie just doesn't mess up the first 5 minutes. Pro
Yeah,
Commie plays carefully and gets good engagements, and that's about it.
Brokami also doesn't shy away from a cheese. Like, if he needs a cheese, he will pull a cheese. We saw that against Yuki Poor, who might be the top player in the game at the moment, at least number one on the rank ladder, but still without a chance against Pro Commie in the grand finals. It was also a bit down to the time they played at for Yuki Poor, but still really, really strong 3-0 victory back then. And this game here, once more, Tanner playing a fantastic game. Like, don't let the situation here right now fool you. Tanner played better than 99% of the players out there would be able to. The artillery movement was fantastic. He moved with good aggression back into the town a good couple of times. Tried to go good engagements, and yeah, brought in the good helicopters. Had a really interesting game plan that would have thrown off a lot of other people playing against the 11th ACAF here, but Procomi adapted really quickly, and yeah, Tanner gets here once more, a couple of good engagements with the helicopters, but it's just 3 minutes left on the clock. It's just too late, and once more, Chaparral and Ihawk in the position to avoid any big breakthrough. A10 coming in, but it's just not gonna happen here.
Yeah, over 10,000 points of supply used from the field supply point, and I think those points of supply, as well as the town micro, were the thing that kept the town under Tanner's control for so long. Pro Commie was careful about not overextending, not retreating with the troops when the troops were wounded, and but if Pro Commie had overextended maybe a couple of times more, maybe the positioning here would be different. Maybe the M1 Abrams would have been gotten bad engagements against maybe the A10s or even the F16 LGB if the F16 hadn't been damaged so early in the southern incursion. There are lots of what ifs, but playing methodically and carefully and safely in the way that Pro Commie does mitigates these what ifs, so that they're always just going to be what ifs.
I also like Pro Commie's air tab here. There are no HE bombers in Pro Commie's tab. He had A10 with AT weapons, and he had cluster F16s. Like, that was his A tab. He had two cards of F16 cluster bombers, just using 3 at there here in the end to annihilate any armored push that goes a bit too deep. And I think that's really good focus on what the enemy strengths are in the F16 deck. That if you use your M1A1s without veterancy, the enemy veterancy M1A1s are super scary against you. But if you have a cluster F16, you just level the playing field. Uh, Not just in speech, but actually literally, and just kill off the M1A1 with that.
Yeah, Pro Commie also transports ATGMs such as ITOs and TOTUs in the armored, heavily armed transports. And considering that this methodical game style doesn't necessarily require fast reinforcements, so having these 50 caliber APCs in the back line is just an 1 point. Just one another dimension of extra HE, which compensates for the lack of not having the HE bombers there.
Yeah, but now obviously Tanner just throwing things in there. Like the last 2-3 minutes weren't really the most methodical playstyles here by Tanner, leading to the annihilation of his forces, because he knew it was over and he just
Yeah.
needed to make a Hail Mary, and the Hail Mary obviously didn't work. But fantastic game from both players still. Like this game plan from Tanner, I think against most other players it would have worked. He is so great with the M109s. He still got an M110 here pushed. He brought in the helicopters in the rear. I think those were maybe a bit too daring. I think a couple of more normal engagements with them in the south, frontally, could have worked out better. With maybe an Eyehawk there to try to win the airfight, but in the end, still a fantastic game from both sides. But once more, a pro Komi victory, and he really starts to become more and more the favorite of this tournament.
Yeah, though the frontal usage of the Sea Knights is always risky, considering the lack of recon that Tanner had up there. So many buildings, so many tree lines that can hide stingers, and a singular stinger getting a hit can easily stun your expensive helicopters. So yeah, just maybe sending them out there to kind of fish for reinforcement kills might feel like the safer thing when you know that your opponent has built up a force of Chaparrals and Abrams around, and Eyehawks around the battle group.
Yeah, big battles here. The A10s doing a really good job. The O2 killing off a Bradley and two M1A1s, damaging a couple more. Like, I think that was one of the most important units in the early game. If I would have to point out one big mistake of Tanner, I think that TOW2 being left alone by the M109s was the biggest. Focus firing on that would have been maybe able to pivot the early game, which then led to Procomi just never letting go. M109's here with fantastic kill lists on the side of Tanner. And yeah, he played a really good game as well, but it just wasn't enough. And yeah, that's unfortunate for Tanner, because his life now is on the line. He needs a victory against Mix 90 to keep his chances alive of staying in the tournament. And even then, it's not a given, because Forward still can maybe get a map of Pro Comi and then win against Mix 90, and then Tanner's eliminated. So it's not fully in his hands anymore, but he for sure needs a victory against Mix 90 now to keep chances alive. And that will be tough.
So Protoss, I'm looking at the downloaded replays, or saved replays that I have here. There is a two-part series of P. Yuri Tanner versus Mix 90, and those are not. I mean, we could cast them now,
No,
but
we can't
depending on
cast
how
them
much
now.
time you have.
We can't cast them now. I have to go to work in 30 minutes time. So yeah, I will have to leave here after this game. But yeah, we will come back to that, guys. We will come back to that, as that series will be super important here for the survival of Pure Tanner in this group. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, once more, if you want to support these players, consider going over to Meterino and just contribute those 25 cents. Click that claim code button. That's all that is needed to add 25 cents to prize pool. Nothing paid on your end. Will be paid out to the top level players here in the tournament in the end. And if we get a bit higher, also to a couple of the lower division finalists and winners as well. So yeah, let's get one click there at a time. And also, guys, if you are already active with a bit of clicking, why don't leave a follow here, and why don't leave a follow on Chloid's channel either? Just 2 clicks here, helping out the channels and letting you know when we're live with some more WARNO action. So yeah, thanks for all the follows today as well, Denver, Buff Bambi, Dr. Trifonius. Welcome to the channel. It's great to have you all here. And yeah, if you have a Twitch Prime laying around, maybe use that as well, either here or over at Chlorid's channel as well. That would be welcome too. Taking out a bit of Amazon's money and giving it to some righteous casters here.
Yes, do your offerings. Press the coupon button if you have disposable income. Pay the offerings to the Church of Warno, and make it so that your 65% ATGMs will not be missing.
Yeah, and with that, we will leave you here for today, guys. Yeah, thanks for joining. And yeah, let's see. Can we find anybody who is streaming right now that we could rate? Actually,
Tyrion Flax is streaming City Skylines, the Dota 2 guy.
well, we will go with some War Thunder here. never
Okay.
have seen this guy before. Let's join House of J though with some War Thunder here, and yeah, have some fun, guys. Let the War
So
Thunder players know that they can play that game with just a bit cooler visuals and top up looks as well here in WARNO. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you all next time. Bye bye,
yes,
and have a great
it's
day.
a War Thunder player, so when